I've succeeded a lot and got a lot of different awards, even in business and stuff too, that I'm very, very proud of. But when it comes down to it, it comes down to that little.
Isn't that of all the things you could pick out, that's what hit you?
It did.
And again, I didn't ask you that ahead of time. That was what hit you that you're proud of. And that's back to the core of who you are.
Welcome to the FocalFlip Podcast. Every week we take a deep dive into the mystery and stigma behind mental health and explore real-life stories of struggle and triumph. We aim to educate and encourage others as we bring together a diverse group of guests. From the streets to sanctuaries, classrooms to boardrooms, mental health does not discriminate, and neither do we. Prepare to laugh, prepare to cry, prepare to be changed. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the FocalFlip Podcast. It's your boy Mike, and the perspective is already flipped as soon as you saw the screen. Because your boy's not behind mic number one, which is not normal for me since I started FocalFlip. Today I'm the guest, and I have a familiar face that's actually become a mentor of mine on my Mount Rushmore now. So there you go. This is Mr. Tim Hanner is going to be leading the show today. So Tim, thank you for being willing to do this. And actually, it was your idea in doing so.
Yeah, I'm honored. I'm honored, Mike. You and I have talked so much over the last 6 months. I just felt like the folks who follow you and listen to you and are inspired by you need to hear more about your journey. So that's what today's about.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. I am excited. It's really cool. And I do not know any of the questions that Tim's going to be asking me today, which is even more exciting. It's going to be about as authentic and as genuine as it gets. I'm prepared and excited for that. But before we get kicked off, hold it up. FocalFlip is now sponsored the entire month of December by Better Blend. So my friend Isaac Hamlin, Stephen Owens, Karen Smith from Better Blend Independence, Kentucky. We're going to be sponsoring us all month. It's a product that I use almost every single day now on my holistic health journey, my nutrition journey, my fitness journey, the whole transformation. This stuff is about as clean and as healthy as it gets with low sugar, all those as well. So Tim, what do you think of it so far?
It's my first time. As a matter of fact, I was telling Mike that yesterday I was in a meeting, College of Informatics at NKU. Lee Kroom, who's a friend and runs BNKY, and Parker Kane were talking about Better Blend. And I was listening, and then a lady was nearby, and she's looking at Lee and said, "Sounds like you could do an ad." And it's ironic today when you told me, and I'm trying it for the first time. Won't be the last time. This is really good.
Really good, isn't it?
And it's healthy.
I know. That's what's wild.
Yeah.
So I got the salted caramel. It's got a little bit of caffeine and stuff in it. So if you want to get your morning started, this is a great smoothie. He got the cinnamon toast cereal, right?
Yeah, it's really good. And it's not, for me, who drinks a lot of smoothies and so on, it's not overpoweringly sweet, but it's got a lot of flavor. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you to Better Blend for reaching out and sponsoring us after my daughter and I did a little 7-day Better Blender. So kind of a cool story happening within our community and businesses supporting businesses and their journey. So thank you guys for that all month. It's going to be a lot of fun as my guests come on. They will be able to have some Better Blend and try it out. We'll give a quick plug for it too, because it's been a part of my journey. So
it's awesome.
Without further ado, Mr. Hanner, Coach Hanner, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, again, Mike, I'm honored. This is the second time I have a dear friend named Mike Sipple Jr., and he has a podcast that he started like in 2017, 2018. I was his first guest. And on episode 100, he contacted me and we talked, and we flipped the mic on Mike, and I interviewed him. So this is the second time I've flipped the mic on Mike.
Oh, okay.
And but I'm honored to do this. And again, like I said at the beginning, I think your journey to get you to where you are and where you're going is something your audience needs to hear. And so I'm honored to be able to do this, Mike. And I didn't want to send you things ahead of time. And this needs to be natural and raw, because really that is how I think that's what's attracting people to you. You're very authentic and very genuine. I really want to start with, and you've heard me say this I'm big on the power of three. So today I have this really broken into three parts.
Okay.
And it's pretty straightforward, but I'm going to start with a quote. And I'm sure I heard this somewhere, but it came to me this morning as I was making notes. The past informs our present, but it doesn't determine our future. When you hear that, Mike, before we get into this, what's that mean to you?
Everything.
Can you talk about it? Can we
Yeah.
give you a minute?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I get emotional.
It's all right.
This is all very deeply personal and very meaningful. Restate the quote again for me, Tim.
Yeah. The past informs our present, but it doesn't determine our future.
That's 100% true. And I know that because everything that's happened in my past has led me to who I am today,
Yeah.
you know? And from that, I've gained so much wisdom through experience, trials and tribulations, a lot of wins that have contributed to where I'm at today, presently. But it doesn't determine my future. My actions do.
Yeah.
And I would be a fool to not take the wisdom from my past and not apply that to my steps in the future.
Yeah. That's great.
So I apologize to everyone who get emotional.
And
It's been that big of a story.
I know. And I want to break that down some. So as you think about past, and I do want to spend a lot of time on your present and what you're doing, because that's, I've become part of that journey and just listening to you and seeing what you're wanting to do, not only what you're doing, not only now, but where that's going to head you in the future. But as you look to your past, again, break it down in three ways: your influences, your proudest accomplishments, and your challenges or mistakes or what you've learned that's helped inform who you are now. So, and you can break that down however you want, but your influence is both people in your life, but also events in your life, and then things that you accomplished that you're really proud of in your past, and either challenges, mistakes. We all learn from a ton of mistakes in life,
Right.
but each one of those, if I approach them the right way, help propel me forward. So can you talk about, let's start maybe with some influences.
Yeah, I can talk about some influences for sure. First and foremost, my mom and dad. I mean, great people. My dad was just a character that was very giving. Didn't have an ounce of greed in his heart. Moved with intention quite a bit. So I do a lot of this for him.
Yep.
It comes down to those two. My mom and dad
Yeah.
are
That's the core of who you are, isn't it?
100%. And as soon as I get through my emotions here, guys, I'll be able to settle in, I promise you. Because there's a lot of really exciting things about who those people are as human beings.
Yeah.
And the character behind them and their stories behind who they are and who they came to be and then how they chose to raise me. That's why this was a little bit difficult for me. And this whole journey was to not let them ever think that it was them
Right.
that caused some of my, mishaps or struggles or falls or anything like that. No, they were the rock.
Yeah.
My mom was my biggest cheerleader to this day, still my biggest cheerleader and my number one supporter. She's always been there for me whenever I went through my tough times. Dad was just that subtle strength, smile everywhere he goes, always was giving to everyone else. He was the guy that had every single driveway plowed. in the snow before people would even leave for work. He'd be up early just to plow everybody
Up and down Spillman.
Up and down Spillman Road here. And that's just one thing. He would constantly leave whatever he was doing to go and aid others. And we saw that in his funeral, right?
Yeah.
So everything in my life I learned through experience, and that taught me. It solidified who he was as a person.
Yeah.
And so I do this for.
I can see that. And I've known your parents since I was principal at Pioneer Elementary.
Yeah.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
And the respect that folks in Southern Kenton County have for the Kannadys and for your mom and dad and now for you. And it's well earned.
Appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. Mike and I go way back. I think I told this when you interviewed me, but my first year at Pioneer, I just missed Mike. You were in the 6th grade. So he would come back to school and hang out. And finally I asked somebody, who is this kid? He keeps coming back. And then got to follow you through middle school and high school, and especially when you hit high school and became familiar with one of my former athletes who was coaching you, Scott Humphrey, and got to enjoy watching you play ball in high school and got to know you a little bit then. What were you like as a middle school and high school student, Mike?
I was a great student. I really was. I excelled in school. It took a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm a visual person. I can memorize things very, very quickly. So I actually did pretty well in school. I enjoyed being at school. I participated in organizations, National Honor Society, all kinds of different stuff. I stayed super involved. And looking back now, I think that's because of how much I love people.
Yeah.
And just being around people. And, my parents instilled a work ethic in me to strive to do the best that I possibly can. And when I started to see that I could do well in school, I liked seeing that. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the taste of winning, the little competitor that's inside me.
Right.
It wasn't really a struggle to get up for school or anything. I made friends with pretty much everybody. The tough part of middle school was trying to fit in with all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was. But as a student, I was a really, really good student. Showed up for everything. I never missed anything.
Yeah.
We didn't take vacations. We just didn't do it. But yeah, I would say I enjoyed my school days specifically. A lot of teachers. I could name a million people as far as my influences. So many. Because I could name literally every teacher from kindergarten all the way up, I think. But your other influential one was Coach Humphrey, you mentioned. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if he realizes how much.
Yeah.
Because that was a next level of being pushed and taught in life.
What were some of the lessons from Coach Humphrey and really Coach Steiner and others that, whether it's from the court, in the classroom, that you think made the biggest impact on who you are now?
Ooh. I think that they were the first ones to really develop grit. For me to develop grit, they taught me that. Clearly, from the beginning of this podcast, you guys know I'm an emotional person. Mm-hmm. So I struggled with emotions. I really did. I had a lot of insecurities from middle school on because of trying to fit in everywhere I could. I gained weight. I was actually heavier set in middle school. Mm-hmm. And that, caused me to be a slower athlete, but I could shoot.
Yeah.
So coming into the freshman level was pretty okay, but my foot speed, all those things weren't there. So for them, there was structure, energy, discipline, and it formed habits.
Right.
And I think that was the first time, like, I knew I developed habits in studying for tests, preparing for things, and I noticed that, but it created habits that were different
Right.
for me. It allowed me to become more disciplined and more structured, to where it forced me to learn how to prepare better.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't prepare, then you were going to be exposed.
Right.
And so that kind of taught me how to level up.
Yeah.
And that's why I think for me as an athlete, and as kind of that little inner warrior started to come out through the basketball court my junior year. And then it really came out my senior year. And you could see that I was actually comfortable in my skin my senior year. Confident. I had to earn some technicals and stuff. Like I said, I'm a passionate, emotional person. Everything means something to me if I'm doing it.
Right.
But that's what those guys taught me. And what was unique was Coach Humphrey was the leader, right? Younger head coach coming in. Coach Steiner came in, Eastern Kentucky guys, right? So Humphrey's manning the ship. Steiner's down here in the field with us players, holding us accountable. So you'd be catching it pretty hard from the top. But the way that Coach Humphrey would come back and love around, same way with Trent, I didn't understand that at the time.
Right.
I do now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now I see what they did, how they did it. So like when I got through my emotions or bitterness of how they may have coached me, or like, yeah, you made me emotional, all this other stuff, and I got through the feelings part of it, I realized the depth of what they had taught me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I invite them on and I follow them today and still talk to them today, is to let them know that.
Yeah. That's a big part of leadership. I think that goal setting, that drive, that pushing.
Yeah.
And even at a time, whether that's in the workplace, whether that's in a classroom and so on, the bottom line is the people you're working with need to know you care. And you were talking, I coached Scott, and he's one you really didn't have to get on a whole lot, because he was almost like having a coach on the floor.
I believe that.
No, and it was true.
Yeah.
But there were, you really, what motivates each individual and how hard do you need to push? But no matter whenever you're pushing and how hard it is, at the end of the day, folks who are following your lead need to know you care about them. And it's not just enough to say it, you got to show it. And I do think that both those coaches, and I think effective coaches do just that. They make it personal for the individual. What were some of the accomplishments, again, through high school and beyond, that you're proud of, that you were able to accomplish, leading up to now? And at the same time, and if you want to, you can blend them, your challenges or mistakes that you feel like you made, and your lessons learned from those. Okay,
let's go with accomplishments first.
Sure.
Because I've got plenty of mistakes. We could talk about the mistakes all day long. It's, I had a lot of accomplishments. I did from an early age on. A lot of different awards that I had earned through academic achievements. Positions held in different organizations that were presidential, vice presidential, top 20 in my class at Simon Kenton. I thought that was awesome. Future problem solver, just a lot of different things that I was always involved in.
Right.
I'm going to tell you my greatest accomplishment, though. This is on a whim, but this is something that held a lot of meaning to me. It's probably, to this day, probably one of the coolest accomplishments I've ever had. Was when I was in elementary school, and I was playing Pioneer Booster basketball, and I played for the Raptors, and co-ed, of course, so boosters back in the day, and we had a girl on our team that was bullied quite a bit all the time in school. Excellent person, even to this day, but just didn't have a fair shake at life at that point. And she was playing on the team. Nobody ever passed her the ball. And I just had a heart for getting her involved, And so one game I passed her the ball and she scored. And it was like, let's go. It was the coolest thing because I can still see it today, vividly.
Yeah.
And the whole place went crazy. So then we got it again, and I was at the point guard, and I dribbled down, and I passed it to her again, and she scored again. And it was just, the whole experience was so cool. And that's what taught me, I love seeing others win.
Yeah.
It's just, I eat it up. And so if I'm going to win, I want other people to win. And then if they're going to win, I want to be a part of their win, and I want to cheer them on. But what was cool about it was that was a normal thing for me to do at who I was as a person. But a newspaper article came out about it in the Kentucky Post, if you remember the Kentucky Post.
Yeah.
A newspaper article came out about it. I still have it today. And it said, Kannady shares the spotlight. And that meant more to me than any other accomplishment I've ever had in my life.
That's cool. Of all the things you could pick out.
100%.
Do you still stay in
purple.
contact
Our
with her
Raptors team
today?
was purple. No, I did kind of look her up not long ago.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to connect with her today.
Yeah.
It was that was probably the coolest one for me because now that I've reflected on all my time in recovery and getting healthy and looking back, I'm like, wow, okay. A lot of the 41-year-old me today, the 7 and 8 and 9-year-old me is coming back out.
Yeah. That's back to your core.
Yeah, 100%. So those were a lot of accomplishments. Of course, making the basketball team, playing AAU ball for the Northern Kentucky Heat, traveling nationally, being a national team. Didn't really play a lot then, but just those things, earning those titles of being a member of something, being a part of a team. Yeah. Those were my biggest accomplishments. I've succeeded a lot and got a lot of different awards, even in business and stuff too, that I'm very, very proud of. But when it comes down to it, it comes down to that little.
Isn't that of all the things you could pick out, that's what hit you?
It did.
And again, I didn't ask you that ahead of time. That was what hit you that you're proud of, and that's back to the core of who you are.
Yeah, I'd like to think that. Yeah. I really would, because it's everything I'm doing in life right now today is starting to confirm who I am and what my values are as a human being. And so when I reflect and I dive deep into this stuff, I really look back at what I was like as a child. I call this process peeling the onion, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point, but I really had to peel that onion of looking back into who I really was, And so my vision and my interpretation of accomplishments today don't look the same as they did back then.
Yeah.
And so I was very proud of winning things and being getting achievements and awards and recognition. It makes you feel good.
Sure.
But now when I look back, it's kind of these more smaller, intangible, not me things that I'm more proud of.
I can see that.
So, yeah.
So beyond high school, talk to us about that.
Okay.
What was life like beyond high school? And again, things that you're proud of and things that help really shape who you are now.
So beyond high school. So we're sticking in all the proud stuff, right?
And you all are hearing a little buzz going off. It is I'm going to have to do this real quick or it'll keep doing it. Sorry.
Go for it. That's what's nice about this podcast. You heard the old-fashioned phone ring, didn't you?
I did. I did. I'm silencing this. And what this is an alarm if I lose a signal because I'm diabetic and I wear a monitor. So if it loses a signal, it's telling me you better. So I had to turn that off. So apologize. But back to it.
All right. So after high school was when a lot of the struggles happened. So let's stick with accomplishments though, because that's kind of the unique part about the story is there's a lot of accomplishments on the surface level that happened from all of that. In college, I did pretty well. I went to Mount St. Joe at first to play basketball as a D3 basketball player. I was trying to decide if I wanted to go walk on and play for Coach Beasold. at NKU or go and try to get more minutes and get more experience playing at the D3 level. And, I did that first year and did well, study tables as well as in school. But even if just being in Mount St. Joe, I still kind of missed home, still kind of wanted to be around more of my community. I didn't know as many people over there. It was just like me and Andy Beard and getting to know that new group of folks, which ended up being okay. Still was one of the top 7 in the rotation there as a freshman. But then I missed home and wanted to move back and see if I could play at Northern. And as soon as I transferred, I had an injury. And so when that injury happened, I couldn't really play a lot of summer ball. I was out running with the guys a lot in the summer to see if I could go out and make the team. And when I recovered from that, it was a knee surgery. When I recovered from that, I started to play a little bit again and hurt my back. And so once I hurt my back, it was kind of it for basketball for me at that point. So it was more of, okay, we don't have basketball. I love being part of teams. I like to win. I want to go accomplish things. I want to help the community. I want to pour into other people. What do I do with my time? And
you have been a part of something that was not only important, but very special to you. Something that you loved, and then all of a sudden that's taken from you.
Yes, all of a sudden it's just kind of ripped out from under you. And that was a tough reality to hit.
How old were you at this time? You said going into your sophomore year in
20.
college.
20 to 21-ish. That at that point, it was like, okay, what do I do here? I moved on campus, so I was getting to experience the campus life, which was so much fun. Really enjoyed that. Being in the Northern Kentucky community was awesome. Like, golly, I loved it. I love being a Norse. Like, there's nothing better. But then, it was like, what do we do? And so I became a Pike. I joined, I went into Greek life and became a member of the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity, Ada Row chapter at Northern Kentucky University. Shout out those guys. Because I would have never pictured myself as a fraternity guy ever. And then that's because I totally fell for all the stigmas of it. I didn't look within the organizations. Originally, those guys wanted me to just come play basketball for them. They really did. So it was kind of nice being recruited, even if it was a Greek organization.
Right. Now you were a part of something again.
Exactly. So when I joined that, it was a family. It was a community. I realized that they hold you to a higher standard. We earned multiple awards. I took that very seriously when I was a member of Pike. Once a Pike, always a Pike is what they say. I took it very seriously, so I decided to hold positions within those organizations too. Within Pike, Student Government Association, Student Alumni Association, I was involved with for a while. So it was more of getting plugged in, trying to do as much as I possibly could while achieving good grades in school. At the same time, I still had the farm boy work ethic, so I was carrying a job. So a lot of my accomplishments at my jobs when I was 13 years old, working at the Kitten County Fairgrounds for Bill Durr, and then to the Miss Classic Car Wash before I could even drive, just so I could clean the cars out and make tips. Yep. Just that stuff before I could even get a license. And then, starting to see success and feel that was awesome. So I had to learn how to balance those. But I look back at that now and say, wow, that was successful time at Northern, because the relationships I developed are still holding true to this day.
Yeah.
And, we're 20 years, close to 20 years after that, post-graduation or whatever. So with that, very proud. I earned great jobs, a great internship at Enterprise where I did very well. I excelled there until my dad got sick. So a lot of wins. We were stacking wins. When basketball was ripped for me, it was like, okay, this was devastating. But what can we do? And then in the midst of all that was when a lot of the struggles was happening at the same time, and I didn't know how to handle that.
Sure.
So it was more of keep performing here, keep accomplishing, keep obtaining rewards and recognition that you can feel like make you feel good about yourself.
Right.
But don't address any of the stuff that's really bothering you.
Can you talk more about that?
Yeah.
I mean, and you and I have talked some, and I know you've talked with others some, but I think a lot of your present in what you're doing, that 20 years between that next segment really has helped inform what you're doing, which we'll get into in a little bit. But what are some of the things that you were struggling with and dealing with then, and how you overcame those, how you coped, how you managed?
Yeah. Okay. So I've always been a people person, and I wanted people to like me. Mm-hmm. So that's why that the initial struggle for me internally happened in middle school. And that's because, I wanted every group to like me instead of kind of finding my group. So I wanted to, like I said, I love everybody and I want to see everybody win.
Right.
But I tried to fit in with everybody. And eventually it wore me completely thin. And so I always carried that underneath, that insecurity that I'd have to manage all the way, even in high school, all the way through. I had to manage that insecurity of trying to fit in and then feeling like I couldn't say what I wanted to say or be how I wanted to be because I was kind of quirky, like it's just who I am. So that's where that low internal struggle was always there. Like I said, it was nothing of anybody's problem or fault.
Right.
It was just what I had experienced and encountered as a youth.
Sure.
But when I had that first surgery, I was really enjoying college very much. The first struggle was at Mount St. Joe. There was a couple different incidents that had happened that made me question a lot of things. And, when there's something that you're doing continuously and you're putting in the work to do something, and then you see a level of disrespect where numerous players leave a program, I was part of those players. So it really started there. And, that's not one of the things I want to get in 100% into, is because it's never really even come out, but there was a mass exodus of players at one point, and it's because there was a big differ of opinion and action at one, and it's nothing against anybody.
Right.
But that was tough, and that's what made me miss home.
Yeah.
And as that was happening throughout the season while you're trying to accomplish and grow in specific areas, it just became too tough.
And you're 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, 18. I was 18 years old. So then coming back to Northern, I was excited. Like people, back in my community, and people, like even when Mount St. Joe played NKU, I got into the game, didn't get a lot of minutes, but the whole place was cheering for me.
Yeah.
That's this community,
Yeah.
right? I wasn't even on that team, but I'm from here.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be a part of. So when I got hurt, I did not expect that I would ever be addicted on any opiates. So when I had that injury, I was down first and was prescribed my medication. But because I'd already had these insecurities and I want to be a team, if I'm hurt, that's delaying my part of the team type thing where it sends me into this pity mode.
Yeah.
And I did not see it coming, to be honest.
Sure.
I did not see it coming, but the addiction to the opiates happened from that. And that was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough. I was prescribed a lot of them as an 18-year-old. Again, nobody else's fault. But
at a time where that was going on.
That was very common.
Yeah. I
mean, it was very common to get a script of 120 Perk 5s.
Yeah. I had back issues at one time, and they went from Percocet to hydrocodone. And back then, again, there's movies and books written about it since, but it impacted and affected a lot of people. And I was being drawn into that as well. I mean, so, and know people that the same kind of things happened to. How did you overcome that? And how long did you struggle with that, Mike?
With what? The opiate? So that started at 19 years old. Well, I'd been 19 years old. And I struggled with that in and out all the way up until the age of 35. All the way in and out to the age of 35. So there was probably two different phases of it. of addiction to opiates. And then there was a real bad bout of alcoholism in there.
Did you realize, let's say at age 25, 27, along the way on that journey, did you realize how it was impacting you, or what are your memories of that time?
Yeah. Well, at that time, I actually was only like a social drinker. So I had stopped opiates. If you want me to tell you about how the whole...
Yep.
Okay. So let's go ahead and I'll tell you the phases of what happened. So when I was hooked on the opiates at first, I never became completely... I would go dry. I could, like, when it was time, like, okay, I need to not take these, I could just not take them and be fine and really not have any withdrawals or anything. But I never forgot what it felt like. Okay. And that experience that I felt. So whenever I would have tough times or whatever, if I had any of those back, I would go to that. Okay. When it got bad was when I became completely dependent upon it, and I ran myself thin, working multiple jobs, trying to get it. I had a relationship that went wrong. There were so many different things where I realized that I got completely hooked on that the first time. When I got clean, I was so scared of letting people know that I was hooked on this stuff. So I hid it.
Sure.
Deeply. To the point where I studied where I could get these things from. I would try to get them from the doctor. I would even try to go. It got so bad where I would try to get it from a different doctor, because I didn't want to tell anybody that I had a problem. I didn't want to be labeled that I had a problem.
Right.
But I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to, who to trust, any of that. So because of that, it went from perk fives. But mind you, still carrying a career, like working and succeeding in business, but being ran by these opiates. So what happened was the addiction, it eventually became an addiction, and the perk fives went to Percocet 10s, 15s, 30s, and then it went to Oxy. And when it got to Oxy was when it started to get really bad, which is a lot, it's basically like synthetic heroin.
Yep.
It was to the point where I took 6 OC80s and overdosed. And
how old were you at this time?
Oh, man. It was my first time coming back here. It was my first time having to come back to the basement of my parents' house and be like, I got a problem, something's wrong. But I still didn't tell my mom that I had an issue.
Did you talk to your dad?
No, my dad had just gotten sick.
Okay. What'd you do?
So I went up there and took some oxys, and I overdosed in that room. And my mom came to. It was like 26 hours later.
Wow.
To my buddy Scooter and my mom. And at that point, we three knew I needed help. But I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't. So I didn't know what to do. So when you're already covering a lot of stuff up under here, your next goal is to try and figure out how to get healthy without letting anybody know.
And you're still working full time and being successful.
Yeah.
But you had, there are terms like weekend alcoholics. There are functional addicts and so on.
Yeah.
But this took it to a whole nother level.
Whole nother level.
Yeah. And so that was a turning point or breaking point for you?
For the opiates, for me, they weren't necessarily like a downer. They would more like worked as an upper. So I could take my opiates and perform just fine at work.
Like it was more of a euphoric feel?
You just didn't really worry about anything. You accomplished a lot of stuff for me. I had a euphoric feel for a while, but once I was actually addicted and hooked to it, it just became all right, I got to take this to get going, and that's it. And then when you're not taking those or you're not, snorting a pill or whatever it is, you start to feel like you're not being productive.
Right.
So, if you've got all these different noise and issues and chaos going on in your life, you're trying to seek some sort of comfort, and you can find that in a pill.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what happened for me, and I stuck with that train for a while, and there was periods of it. It wasn't like, hey, I was on this for this many years straight.
Right.
There was times where I wasn't, but I substituted with social drinking.
Yeah.
So this was a constant, common thing, right? So the part that was scary was like with the overdose on the 6-OC80s was I found a Suboxone clinic. I was like, okay, spending our money on the opiates, if I can go do Suboxone, that way I won't be labeled with anything. I can do it off the records pretty much. I mean, they have Casper charts, but it's not, I wouldn't be labeled as having a problem.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be labeled as being an addict, right? For some reason I was obsessed with, I didn't want to be labeled. I just didn't want it. I don't want anybody looking at me from this, shaming me, all that stuff. So what we did was we went to Danville, Kentucky, because we didn't even want to go to the one locally.
Who's we?
Scooter, my best buddy, who was there with me in the trenches through this sucker, and my mom. We hopped in my dad's old green Chevrolet, and we drove down to Danville, Kentucky.
Wow.
We would get a 30-day supply of Suboxone, and I'd come home, and I'd work a landscaping job at that time. So I was literally running a crew. So I left Vioxx at one point, and I came back there, and they gave me a crew. And then the first time, Dewey Burgess was the first guy I told I had issues with on that. And he actually would drive me to my Suboxone appointments.
Wow.
Which was cool as can be.
Yeah, that's special.
But yeah, so I took those, which basically mask your receptors. And it's an effective treatment for a while, for sure. But for me, I found out that you could sell those on the street and get more opiates. And so there was a coworker I had at the time when I was working at a rental car company that really had introduced me to the oxys. And so when you're close to that environment, even when you're trying to separate and move locations as well, you couldn't avoid it.
Yeah.
Because that little darkness that's tugging at you, tells you you should go do this, you should try this. So it was introduced that I could sell those on the street and still be able to fund my habit. And I never in my life would have dreamt that I would have done something like that, but I did. At that point, it became, how do we manipulate the system to try and cover up our disease? So I was actually taking opiates and keeping 3 of the Suboxones. So I would quit opiates for 3 days, take the Suboxone films, and then go and test down in Danville and test clean.
Wow.
And so just these silly little mistakes to fund your habit. So the whole time in your mind, I'm like, it's not right.
Right.
But you need this. You need this. And you don't want to figure out how to go and get it right because you could be labeled this way. You could lose this. You could, all of those things.
You're afraid of being vulnerable at
Absolutely.
that point. Yeah.
And so
the irony in that is you're one of the most vulnerable guys I know now. Seriously. And just being out there and sharing it. And at that time, that's what you feared.
Yeah.
What changed that? What was your turning point that
changed from me from being invulnerable to vulnerable?
Yeah, from that time where you said it was fear of you didn't want to be labeled.
Yeah,
and that's true for a lot of people in life, whether it's addiction or whether it's they've been abused or whether it's been, I don't want to be labeled as that.
Yeah, I don't.
What was that turning point that forget the label, I got to get all in and get clean?
That was in 2021. Was forget the label. Like I really didn't care.
Yeah.
I was so sick at that point. I was so sick. I mean, I had 3 nurses walking me in my last time into treatment because I could not walk straight. They had to guide me with my shoulder on the wall. So when you try to fake everything in your life from the age of 18 all the way to 35, at some point you got to end up opening up or you're going to continue on the same path. For me, I tried faking 4-step inventory. Shout out Alcoholics Anonymous. They're a huge part of my story. I even tried faking my way through that program. Didn't work.
Right.
What worked was when I looked at myself. When I looked at myself and I made peace with myself, it was more of everything I do in life, all these outside forces don't matter.
Right.
What I do within me, what resides within me and then can flow out of me is what matters.
Right.
Always. Always.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say at this point or anybody could say to me, like it may make me emotional for a second. I move right through it.
Yeah.
And now we talk about it openly. And so that time was that 4-step inventory that I did where I went through a couple of different sponsors, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I lined up with people of different beliefs, different faith and religions to get their perspective on everything. And at that point, I took a 43-page look at myself. And at that point, for me, saying I was a visual learner, I memorized, I have to write this stuff down nowadays to make it reality, for me to make peace with it. And so when I did that and I started to work through those lists, I just had a different mindset and mentality, path, approach of how I was going to tackle this list internally and allow that to flow out of me through action and still affect the list. And so that's when it was like, in order for me to do this, I need to be real. And I didn't trust me to be real. So I had to go back to the 7-year-old me, the 10-year-old me, all that stuff, and go, all right, you know what? Let's just talk about it. What is there to lose?
Right.
Are you going to fire me from a job? How many have I lost? Plenty.
Right.
You're going to cut me from a team? What's it matter?
Right.
It's what do I gain from it now? So if we're going to have these tough things, I've noticed that emotions drive a lot of things, but they're always temporary. So if we can address a lot of that stuff in and after those moments, we can eliminate a lot of this suppression of feelings.
Yeah.
A lot of the smothering of it, that depression, all these negative type things like I was doing. Surface level, we're doing great.
Yeah.
Underneath, our soul is dry.
Right.
And I was seeking that spirituality and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And even being involved in church, come from a faith background, still couldn't connect, was just trying to do it more for me. Like it's me. I need to do this. I'm going to do this so I can get this. Never worked that way.
Yeah, it seemed like, I think it's interesting to hear your journey that for so long, like many of us, fitting in something and being a part of a team, and you're giving to others on that team, but your own self is suffering at that time. It's sometimes to an expense of trying to give to others. And I mean, you mentioned it earlier, that was walking the walk of what your dad did. I mean, your dad was always about helping others. And so when you decided to take that hard look back at yourself and get the help that you needed, get the counseling that you needed, how has that experience and the help you received informed what you're doing today? Because I do want to get into your why now.
Yeah.
What is your why now? And I'm just so proud of what you're doing with the coaching with FocalFlip. And I want to make sure we spend time on that because your experiences are helping others, even more so than what you'll ever probably know. It could be someone seeing this for the first time who it resonates with them based on something you've said. You brought up a time in my life that maybe I had buried because I was afraid I was getting addicted to these pain meds at almost the same time you're talking about, but I was older. And I was working in a school district. And it fall asleep in meetings at times.
Yeah.
Or getting sleepy. And then I went back to my doctor and said, I'm afraid of this. We got to find another pathway. But there could have been a turning point because it did bring something to me or I wouldn't have kept doing it besides the back pain. And the answer he gave me back then, as long as you're in pain, you can keep taking these. You'll never be addicted. And we know not all that nonsense.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but that's what they're being fed by, especially, the pharmaceutical companies during that time.
Yep.
But with you going through all that, how has it informed what your purpose, what is your why right now?
My why is to help every single person that struggles with internal conflict, with life circumstances, environments, situations, to let them know that everything that they're experiencing in life is 100% completely normal. Because what I've noticed is that we live in a society that is obsessed with labels. And once you're labeled as something, you are treated as such. And my goal is to flip everybody's perspective on how we handle difficult life situations that we often label as mental health. Something that was never talked about when I was younger. Something that is starting to be talked about a lot more today.
Especially amongst men.
Absolutely. And that's a big reason why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Oh.
But it's to teach people that through mindset change and how the psyche works and what we experience every single day can be encountered and experienced differently from within and can create an action that will lead to a more spiritual and purposeful life. And I'm a firm believer in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have created it, and I would have already quit by now because it's tough to do. It's tough to do. But the whole meaning behind that is to create all of the inner warriors that we have that's in us.
Yeah.
There's traces of this stuff ever since we were little. Even when you look at religion and spirituality, faith, God within us, Christ in us, all of these different things. But we become so obsessed as a culture and society with these outside influences, accomplishments, highlight reels, all of this stuff that we have completely used comparison game to belittle ourselves now. And it's created this isolation.
Yeah.
And so even when we see these folks on a surface level operating in one way, there's still this moment of isolation that happens within the psyche, within your mind, right? Sometimes us as people can see it because it manifests itself through body language, through actions, emotions. But there's a lot that you can't see. Yeah. And because you can't see it, it makes it difficult to talk about. So my goal is to be vulnerable and talking about those things and say, hey, you know what? I'm a cool guy. I'm a fun guy. I'm a casual guy. Let's just talk about this stuff because it's normal. Yeah. And so that is my mission, is to make people feel comfortable within their own skin. Once they do that, they'll be able to address any issues and problems that they think they have, right? Once they do that, they'll be able to tap into what I call the authentic self. And when you tap into that, it leads to spirituality. And spirituality is another label that gets misunderstood.
Talk more about spirituality, because I do think it means different things to different people. What is in your coaching model, which I really want you to go into more about the how you coach, how you got into it, and how you coach, because you're building a nice business right now in coaching. And love what you're doing. Start with defining spirituality from the way you use it in coaching.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll define it in the way I use it. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Because that's a tricky question when it comes to coaching, consulting, and all of that stuff, right? Again, we get into labels. So, what I've learned through my studies, when it gets down to the authentic self, you have people that have, or myself, that have a specific belief structure. A belief structure is more surface level than you think as far as it being core.
Yep.
And then you have, religious institutions that serve as bodies of Christ and church and all these things. But I learned spirituality to be completely different for me. And that means to have a personal encounter or experience or at one with the world. And that means nature, the universe, understanding that the value and the presence of this connection is spiritual, right? It's kind of that connection with the universe and with other people that's unseen. It's the voice that's inside you that'll tell you specific things and these intuitive type things that happen. The spiritual flow of how you exist in life is the way that I look at it. And what I understand is that can only be experienced when we are completely real and authentic with ourselves and with others. And so for me, spirituality has taught me to slow down and be appreciative and grateful of everything that I have that's in front of me, because I don't have tomorrow. And that's allowed me to have peace and calm with myself, which has allowed me to be more present in society and be more understanding and appreciative of society. And because of that, it has eliminated any greed I've had within me, or any of the negative tarnishing type stuff. And because of that, now when I move and act freely and I flow freely through my days, I may have something that happens in my mind that I'm concerned about, but then a person would show up and start a conversation that would have answered a thought that had never left my mind. And that is spiritual.
Yeah.
And so those types of things is when you are being completely real with yourself, which gives you the ability to connect with the universe or with God or with Jesus or whatever you want to call it, Yahweh, Abba, Buddha, however you want to call it. Labels. Like I said, I don't like the labels anymore. But that's what it is. It's to be at one with the world, finding peace, finding balance, finding harmony in life.
Yeah. And what you're talking
and knowing
about,
there's a bigger purpose, and that there's a reason for all of this. It's all interconnected.
Yeah.
Right? All of this is interconnected. I tried to avoid that for years because none of it made sense. It was all outward reaching. I needed to look in.
Yeah. And I think what you're talking about, Mike, that journey and what your discovery is, when you start noticing those moments, you start looking more for those moments that are, I have a friend who called, this is a God moment. I mean, we'll be in the middle of something and we'll say the same thing. And what he means by that is exactly what you're talking about. Let's stop and pause and notice this, because this is powerful, even if it's a small thing.
You guys do that?
Oh, yeah.
I love that you do that.
Yeah.
You should. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah. And for me, and again, like you have learned a lot over time from different people, from things I've read. I am very open to learning as many things as I can to help inform, because I'm still searching. And at the moment you feel like you figured it out and you stop searching, is the moment you need to be shook and woke up. Because we all, until the moment we pass, should be always searching for meaning,
Yes.
Yeah.
So real quick, can I finish on this part?
Please.
Because this is what changed the game for me when it came to spirituality. Because I just remember this now. I was mad at God. Okay. When I went into my last time in treatment, I was mad at God. So I was at the point where I'm placing blame now on God, right? When I got in there into recovery, I've actually had people of faith and of religious backgrounds that had relapsed and misled me as well. So it made me mad at God, even more mad at God. It was like, what are you all trying to teach me here? And then I had a gentleman come along in my life by the name of John McNeely. Because I haven't got to give a lot of shout out names, but that man came in my life and changed the game when it came to how I think. And so when he just kept telling me to look deeper, think deeper, look within. You're not digging deep enough. These kind of things. And he wasn't my sponsor. Matter of fact, the guy wouldn't take on any sponsors or any sponsees. And one day I went up to him and I said, would you mind sponsoring me? And I know you don't take any on, but would you mind doing it anyways? And he said, for you, I will.
Oh, wow.
And from that moment on.
That's a moment.
Buddy. From that moment on, he taught and I listened, and then I would go and act and just be present and learn. And I'm telling you, what changed it for me was I had the whole conception of, like Jesus and those kind of things wrong. I had it wrong. I just did. And he had to literally teach me and walk me back into the ancient times.
Yeah.
Something that I was already somewhat familiar with, but he had to show it me in a different way. And I think, it started with an old term of know thyself. Mm-hmm. And that was huge for me. Why would that be on the top of temples and, in front of pyramids and stuff like that? Know thyself. Why would it come from this specific group? So then, like you said, the similarities. So from that, I started looking at the similarities in all the religions. Mm-hmm. And that's what led me more to spirituality, was it because I found them all to be similar in some fashion.
Yeah.
Because I was seeking that, it taught me how to connect with everyone else now.
Yeah.
And respect their belief structures and backgrounds, and then just go be present with myself.
Yeah.
And so that's
powerful.
That's where it was. So now, one of my quotes I say now is know thyself first. So it's know thyself, first. And that's one of the things that it's even on my board still probably. But now that's just something that I live by. When I wake up every morning, I say, I know thyself. Know yourself first today, Mike.
Yeah.
If you do not know yourself today, Mike, how can you help anybody else?
Right.
How can I go and pour out that's within my cup?
Yeah.
If I'm not being real or I don't know who I am.
That's powerful. And reconnecting with you and getting to know you over this last year, I see that. I want to talk about what you're doing in your coaching with FocalFlip, and I want to really start with this. One of my favorite, I get a daily email from the Center for Contemplation and Action. It's a Richard Rohr group, and but it's a whole lot of people. And what they do is put out daily messages just to get you thinking. And I think contemplation without action is just thinking. Mm-hmm. And action without contemplation causes too many mistakes. So when we do contemplation before action and deep and I think that's what I think you walk that walk. Can you talk about your contemplation that led you into the FocalFlip coaching?
Yeah.
And then as you talk about the action of the coaching,
Sure.
if you can explain to the audience what you do as a FocalFlip coach.
Absolutely. I noticed through multiple different programs of recovery that people always quit when they had to look at their self. That's what I noticed. I studied behaviors and patterns forever. And I was pouring into programs, helping, and then getting frustrated when I see people fall off. And so it just made me look at things and think differently. How can we do this different? We are not affecting people enough. We are not reaching people enough. And so I just started studying a lot of different things. I started asking a lot of people questions. I vetted a lot of different interviews. And it came back down to a lot of the labels, a lot of the people being mad at God, a lot of people not understanding thoughts, how they come into your mind, how there's so many of them, right? And because of that, they didn't know how to put their thoughts down on paper. So they didn't even know how to do an inventory on stuff. Mm-hmm. So for me, my thought was, how about this? We'll use positivity. We'll create a program and a method that causes them to flip their perspective in the midst of moments. And so it started with that. So where, a lot of people will say pause or pray. Well, you got to know how to pause. You have to understand your environment, the circumstances, the people, the situation, all of this stuff. There's so much to it. And for me, I wanted to create an educational program, coaching program that taught people why we do, what they mean. How do we affect it?
Yeah.
How do we change course? So I use simple mindset change practices, perspective change philosophy.
You said simple, but it's not simple.
For anybody correct.
Yeah.
For me now, it's become second nature.
That's what I mean. The act of doing that, though, can be monumental because people are used to just moving straight ahead.
Yeah.
Talk more about that. When you talk about flipping a mindset in a moment, how does that play out?
So I can give you an example of some of the things we do with our program, if you want. So a lot of folks really, when you go to ask them what they get disturbed with, what they're annoyed at, what's causing triggers or what's triggering them to go and use, they'll often at times kind of spew off different things. So for me, I want to do everything forward thinking, forward moving. We can reflect all day long, but I want to create the forward thinking stuff, the gratitude stuff. So what I do is I have my clients record their annoyances and disturbances. And we do that every day. And so we record the annoyances, the times that we're, if you're cut off in traffic or whatever, we just record it. And for me, I don't like journaling. I hate journaling. People try to get me journal for years. I don't like journaling. But what I did realize is that I like to list.
Yeah.
And for me, I had to put things on paper for it to become reality and for me to handle it.
Yeah. And it's visual right there for you.
Exactly. So for that, where was I on that?
You're talking about in the moment.
Yeah. So in the moment, we record those annoyances and disturbances. And what happens is I use this process called peel the onion.
Yeah. Talk about that.
I'm walking through with my clients every day. Not all the time. It's just clearly we meet like once a week and all this stuff, but we put some little action stuff together. We stay in contact with one another. Some people are a little more intensive up front than others. Some more on the professional side. But we record those annoyances and disturbances, and then we just peel them back. We peel them back situationally because everything happens by moments. Mm-hmm. Every single little tiny instant. All right? So we have to look at why that caused that person to act or feel that way. Okay? That is just a thought that came in that caused an emotional reaction. Okay? We have how many thoughts a day? No wonder we're stressed.
That's right.
Okay, so that had manifested itself and put itself on paper. From there, we peeled those moments back into root cause. So through standard motivational interviewing and through my FocalFlip method and perspective change philosophy I've learned that I've created now, you kind of find what does that. So if they're in those moments, what we teach is immediately how we counteract that emotional trigger reaction. And immediately, I'll come so for example, here's what caused that. Here's why. That's normal.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what caused that. Why is it affecting you this much? Okay. We peel it back. And sometimes it'll take you all the way back to different childhood stuff.
Sure.
Sometimes it doesn't, but it's not difficult. We all think, I thought it was going to be so hard to go back into my past, peel all these problems away. No, I had to change my mind. Mm-hmm. That's it. And I had to find somebody who was not going to judge me, not shame me. I'm already full of guilt, shame, and remorse.
Sure.
This is already tough stuff. It's already difficult for me to even jot these things down as a person, right? So that's what we teach now. It's like, hey, well, I'm not sure what's causing this. I'll tell you what. Tell me what annoys you. Tomorrow as you go through your day, let me know if you get disturbed any time throughout the day. Let's just record your disturbances. And so now we peel it back. For example, if you find out somebody's angry about something, they're fearful of something. Mm-hmm. For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yep.
And in my opinion, this whole life is a game of balance. And our goal is to become centered. And the only way we can become centered and move out, flip up and out, is to be centered. So if we're more heavy in one way because we're angry, that can turn into resentments. Mm-hmm. Resentments can lead to much farther problems, deeper problems. So we learn how to counteract those in the moment. Okay, hey, what are you scared of? a lot of people, they can't tell you what they're scared of right away. I don't know. I'm just mad at this person. I'm just pissed at this person. They did this to me. They did that.
They don't know that a lot of that's grounded in fear.
Boom. They just don't. And so you have to start to teach fear. Yeah. And like, that's kind of what we do. We just teach on fear. Like, hey, guess what? That's a normal common thing you're going to have. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where you'll learn how to manage fear, but you won't have doubt.
Yeah, I love that. I think what you're on to and what intrigues me with the way you approach what you're doing, and that's the deepest I've heard you talk about it with examples.
Yeah. It doesn't include the gratitude portion of our daily stuff.
Oh, and which is so important. Yeah. I mean, starting every day with a moment of gratitude. And for me, when my feet hit the floor at 7:44 every day, unless I've got something earlier, never later, but my brain just wakes me up, feet at the floor at 7:44.
Internal clock.
And I think, I woke up, but what am I grateful for? This morning it was doing this. Just that was a mental mindset.
Yeah.
I think for the individual, for most individuals going through whatever they're going through, your coaching could be a huge help. I also see for businesses, for middle level management, for people trying to move forward in their career and they feel like they're hitting a wall, or even small groups of work teams and businesses. Can you talk to that? Because I see how this could have helped even groups I had either worked with, been a part of, that this whole, because it's about a mindset and it is about a mind shift. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's been one of the most fun pieces here lately has been the business and the businesses, the organizations, the teams that aren't just, it's more of with our method. Okay, with this method and this approach, it addresses reality head on, but what it teaches is it's kind of like an extreme ownership. And it teaches you what the controllables are. And it empowers them to perform much better. And because we've peeled away all those issues, they end up developing awareness. Awareness is one of the most key elements in life. Whether it's situational, it's huge.
Yep.
And a lot of our folks today in businesses and organizations lack awareness. And they're within the orgs and performing tasks, but then not understanding the bigger picture as to why.
Right.
So for every
Head
single
down.
thing, exactly.
Yeah.
Head down. I work for this company. I earn this insurance through this company. I provide for my family here. Right?
Yeah.
What kind of environment is that within there? And what more are you capable of? Mm-hmm. And so we find that. And I call it a superpower now. We peel the onion back in these people, in personnel. For example, full-time employees, FTEs. We bring the FTEs in, we talk to them about specific things. You kind of rally the troops like you would a sports team, right? But you talk to them in a different manner that actually relates. Okay? It's not, I'm telling you what to do. I'm telling you how we are.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I'm telling you how we are. Here's what we can do.
Right.
And so from that, with the businesses and what I like to do, even if I'm a Covey guy, all that kind of stuff. So when you get into once you tap into your authentic self and you tap into that superpower and you're aware of each end of the spectrum, emotions, all that stuff, you can accomplish whatever you want. Mm-hmm. You want a bonus at your work? You can accomplish it. All the other stuff that's going on around you is noise.
Right.
Everything resides from within and connects from without.
Right. I love it. I know we're running short on time. I do want to make sure if someone is interested and wants to connect with you, whether it's an individual who might be struggling or might be wanting to just learn more about individual coaching, or it's an organization, a nonprofit, a for-profit, how do they connect with you, Mike?
That's a great question. Contact me directly. I do have folks that help a little bit with my team. It's not like an actual employee team with FocalFlip. It is me directly. Email me directly at mike@focalflip.com is the best way. You can also contact me on my cell phone, which I put up everywhere as well now. I was real scared to give that out at first, but then I realized how important it is to have connection. So my cell phone is a great connection tool. My website, it's just FocalFlip.com. You can get on there and go to coaching services, different public speaking, keynote packages that we do. You can contact and book directly from there. So whether it be, if it's on the business side, you can slide in there to my website on the calendar, book a free consult, initial free session with me, 20 minutes. To be honest with you, I love doing what I do. I don't need any longer than 20 minutes to understand or establish a relationship with you or to see if what we can do is going to work for you. So come, hit me up 20 minutes and do that.
I've got folks, there are some people I'm going to be pulling you into meetings to meet with because I think you're on to something.
Well, thank you.
And some organizations that either could benefit from what you're doing or want to learn more and maybe even work with you because this is so needed. We talk about 20 years, 25 years ago. It's needed more right now than ever.
I couldn't agree more.
Because so much in life, it's easier to sell fear. It's easier to sell distress and negativity. It's harder to get people to lean into. Again, this because we become part of it. We get sucked into that. Yeah. But we need more positivity. We need more intentional planning for an individual so that they truly can hold a mirror to themselves in order to move forward. Tell me, what's your future? Where do you see this going? And this is the third of the power of three, past, present, and future.
I love it.
So your future, what do you want to see come out of FocalFlip and some of the other things you're involved in, Mike?
So I want people to get healthy. That's all. I want people to live a fruitful, happy, healthy life. I want them to be able to accomplish success that's defined in their own terms. For us, FocalFlip as a coaching, consulting business, as the podcast overall is to destigmatize mental health. The goal was to reach one. But honestly, I want to go as big as we can to keep this thing as normal as possible, to show everybody that it's possible to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to leave this area and be one of those moving to a different city and falling in line with algorithms and all this type stuff. I want to show that we can organically grow something, authentically coach people in life, teach and bridge gaps through education, right? And I want FocalFlip to be that thing of just that reminder of just flip your perspective. Yeah. You want to pause, but you're emotional at that moment. Just flip it. Hold on. But hold up. Maybe it's not them. And I want that to become a whole coaching model, or even we're within the schools where we're working with administrations, with the SROs, with counselors, therapists, and we're kind of like in between there. Because when kids get pulled out of population and they're labeled because they're disciplined for a behavior, right? They already know that. So guess what? They're being sent to that so they can get help, which is huge. But there's a gap in between here. You have to reinsert them back into population. And there may not have been something wrong. That may have just been an emotional issue.
Yeah.
And I feel like within our schools and some other institutions or different organizations, I feel like we're kind of spread thin there.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if we could have our own set of coaches to come in and do that and be able to have our hand within these kids to make this stuff look normal, because we haven't even hardly touched on the digital world, Tim.
I know.
That's what's really affecting the kids.
Oh, absolutely.
And so if we have someone within the school systems, or we can create ambassadors too, to start to make these conversations look normal, where it just becomes an emotional balance game.
Yeah.
That's why the NFL has emotional quotients. The highest league of the highest paid professionals are literally graded on their emotions.
Yep.
If that's happening as an adult, why not intercept it at the youth?
Well, and I think what you're talking about is I was doing some writing yesterday on something I'm working on. This also could be arming teachers, people who are impacting students, to looking for those moments, how we can tweak not only what we're delivering to students sometimes, but how we're delivering it, so it becomes more personal, and that we give students more authenticity in their learning, where they're given more choices. And 99% of the teachers I've worked with only want to get better at what they're doing.
Of course they do. They're all awesome.
Yeah, and it's why they chose to go into the profession. So I think sometimes, and the thing I love about what you're doing is it's an in-the-moment coaching. There are too many professional developments or trainings or so on we've all been to, and then you go back and do what you've been doing.
Yeah.
But you're giving practical, real, whether this is a one-on-one coaching or small group or whatever, that you go back and you look for those moments because you're recognizing in yourself the way your mind is turning to a negative pool.
Yeah.
And you're flipping that and
Shifting it
the
back.
opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I'm excited, again, about what you're doing and how you're going about it. I just think this has a heck of a future.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate it.
So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm proud of you. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too, man. I really do. Like I told you, you're on my Mount Rushmore. You've been amazing to me.
So, I want to continue to help you be a part of this journey. And I 2 or 3, 5 years from now, I think to come back and really look at this point and where you are and all the different directions that you could go. The fact that I said, where do you want to be in your future? A lot of people say, I want to franchise this and market it all over you didn't say that. You said, I just want to help people get healthy. That is your core. So I'm just proud of you, brother.
Well, thank you. I love you, man.
Love you too.
All right.
You get to sign it. You get to sign it off.
Well, dude, we started off by me crying, man.
It's all right.
Yeah, guys, that was amazing.
Good.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I could do this with you all day.
That
As a
was
matter of
so
fact,
cool. This is the kind of conversations I love having, man.
When Mike and I get together, this is the way we talk.
It is exactly.
Truly.
Yeah. And this is me genuinely, y'all. This is like, I literally will have this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
These moments right here.
Yeah.
Whether it's on camera or not.
That's right.
It's that connection. And that there's real, genuine love here with one another, where we just want to see each other succeed and love other people and win. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to feel that. I want the people that feel like they're in the dark spots, like, feel that too. Mm-hmm. You're a part of something. We're all a part of something.
That's right.
And if you're a part of something, what are you doing with it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want people to understand. I don't think we explored enough.
Yeah, life's an opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is. It's an opportunity.
That's
each week I put out a quote on this little Facebook group we do that you're now a part of.
I love that group.
Thanks. And I always end it with, one of my favorite quotes is, it goes back to faith, hope, and love. And 3 most important words in the Bible, faith and hope, but love. And love is the most powerful of any word, not only in the Bible, but for me in life. Mm-hmm. And how do we start by recognizing love in ourselves? And then how do we show love to those around us? And that's a journey, that I've been on forever.
Yeah.
And I just want to become better and better at that. And it's people like you that make that happen.
Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. I love you to death, buddy. I admire you like crazy.
It's mutual.
All right. Well, you guys subscribe. Definitely hit me up sometime. Mike at FocalFlip.com. Go to the website. Just give me a shout. You may be surprised at how comfortable that whole session would be. Mm-hmm. So we love y'all. We're out.
So guys, you should like and subscribe and like hit that
Okay.
I can't get it.
Okay.
I'm not used to this.
Hey guys, subscribe to my dad's video and just like the bell.
Hit that like and subscribe button, hit that bell.
And stay tuned. Love y'all.
100%. Love y'all. We're out.
I love that.